A man left me a letter and talked about the hardships in his life, and then said that he didn't think he could go on another day, and he didn't sign a name.
Now performing Indigo featuring Avery and
We're joined today by Avery Anna. We are here with Avery Anna.
Welcome to the Big Silence Podcast, Avery Anna.
It can be as little as someone barely pushing your boundaries in a very innocent way, and it can go as far as like serious sexual assault. And I saw that a lot in the letters. I mean, I feel like I've experienced that on some level of the scale myself, and so I wrote Grave on the album about that. Sometimes I feel like I give up my self-esteem or my agency for people to like me or follow me. I kind of bow down to this social media presence. And I think it's not just for influencers or artists or business owners, but I think it's everyone. For me, it's God and like Jesus Christ. So reading my scriptures daily is probably number one for me. Yeah, my meditation. Daily prayer is big for me. Drinking water, being outside is so important. I don't know how to talk about this, but I'm not gonna take it to my grave. Like, I know I need to, and I'm going to, and I'm not gonna be scared about what people are gonna say about me.
The Big Silence. It's time to sing.
Welcome to the Big Silence Podcast, Avery Anna.
Thank you so much.
You walked in the room, your energy is great. You're about to go perform in a few hours at the Grand Ole Opry for your 10th time, no big deal. I was like, it's your first time. You're like, no, like 9, 10.
9 or 10, something like that. I can't remember.
So how did you get into the music industry?
It's kind of a random but a funny story. When the pandemic hit, I was in high school and I was doing school online. And I started posting videos on TikTok because I finally had time to do that and to kind of sing all day. And I would just kind of mute my classes and just sing and write songs all day. Which don't take my advice, kids.
Hey,
but
I'm a 2-time college dropout.
Yes,
so
yes.
All good.
And so I would go into my mom's bathroom and sing in her big clawfoot bathtub because the acoustics were really good in there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I worked up the courage to post it, and it went viral. And then, long story short, a band named Parmalee, who I grew up listening to, they saw me on their TikTok and they showed me to their manager. He reached out to me through like a DM, and then I started working with them. And then I signed a record deal with Warner Music Nashville.
Just like that. You're like,
just super quick within like 5 or 6 months, I think. Wow. And then I moved to Nashville. So all of that happened at the end of 2020. And then I signed July of 2021 and moved to Nashville August of 2021 and finished my senior year online.
Where'd you move from?
From Flagstaff, Arizona.
Wow. That, like, to me, that seems so fast because a lot of times people are like, oh, you're an overnight. But that is quite a few years. But that was fast. Right. Like, how did you?
Super quick.
Did you always want to be a singer-songwriter and write music?
Right. I have always done that just in private for myself. Yeah. I never thought I was very good at it. I knew I was like good enough at it for me to sing at like church or the national anthem for my high school volleyball games. But no, I never in a million years like dared to dream that I could do it as a career. Yeah. I just didn't really think I was like good enough for it. Especially because I feel like at a young age, I was on Instagram and I would always like binge watch YouTube of other people singing. And so just kind of that passive comparison, I just never felt like I was that good.
Yeah.
And then it kind of swept me off my feet very quick.
How does that feel? Are you 21?
I'm 21, yeah.
Wow. When I was 21, I was out in the Hollywood clubs, just messing my life away. But then I found my balance and my way. But how does that feel? Do you feel grounded? Were you raised by a family that kept you grounded?
Yes. Yeah. My family's they ground me, even when I don't want to be. Yeah. I grew up in a very, very faithful house. Mm-hmm. I have lots of family, like 60 total cousins.
Oh, wow.
Yes, lots of family. And I grew up very close to them. And I have 3 siblings and 2 amazing parents. So they very much incorporated like a very faith-based foundation for me growing up. Mm-hmm. And so no matter what like hardships I went through, I always kind of knew that like God has a plan for me. And that gave me some sort of peace. So that really grounds me in my faith and my family. And if my head ever gets too big and I get a little cocky, they snap me back into shape real quick, especially my little sister.
It's interesting. So you have a new album coming out, which is beautiful, Let Go Letters. And your lyrics are so deep and a little bit of darkness, a little, there's a lot of depth in there. Like, how do you find these lyrics?
So Let Go Letters is a lot different from any music I've ever done before because my first album, it was written all about my experiences and the things that I go through. And Let Go Letters, I started doing this at my very first headlining shows, I'd say 2.5 years ago. And so I was on stage singing songs like Narcissist and Biggest T-Shirt and Vanilla and seeing how many people sang those words back to me that shared that pain. And it was really cool to see that, but it was also really sad. And I felt like I had a good way to cope with that with writing and especially songwriting. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of wanted to give everyone or encourage them to take the opportunity to write it down as well because I know it helps me. And then I started the Let Go Letters and had a mailbox at my merch booth. Yeah. And people just dropped letters there and I'd read them after the shows and they're very painful and very deep. And then, it turned into me writing about them and especially the ones that I feel like I could sort of relate to and be able to kind of interpret that into my own words and songs.
So would you consider yourself an empath?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm because you come up from a good upbringing, but you're able to feel your fans and your listeners' pain and what they're going through. Mm-hmm. And Danny Don't. And that was a letter that was left and with no name left with the letter. And then you wrote a song about it. Has he ever reached out to you, do you think?
No, I don't know if I'll ever see him. I don't know who it was that left that letter. For those of you that don't know, a man left me a letter and talked about the hardships in his life and then said that he didn't think he could go on another day and he didn't sign a name. And I locked myself in my room and wrote Danny Don't. And I hope that I get to, be face to face with him and have a conversation with him. But I don't know. I think people don't realize how common it is to reach that point of just being done, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard to read that and to write about that because it's so heavy and reading all of the letters, it definitely takes a toll on me emotionally because I'm so empathetic. Yeah. And so I have to consciously tell myself not to take that upon myself because it's not really my burden to bear. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of just opening the door for people to connect with the music, I guess.
Well, whoever left that letter, I hope that they know that song was inspired by them. Yeah. And I hope that they are here and they know that they are seen and they are heard. Yeah. And it's a beautiful song. And I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think too, it's been really cool to see how many other people that have felt that way reach out and share their stories with me and say that the song really helps them be encouraged to keep going.
Yeah. It's so interesting coming from a good upbringing and then going to a place where what is your writing process? Because I feel like if you're writing these deep songs about emotions and relationships and from vanilla to Cheerios and all these things, how do you get into that process?
So it's different every time. A lot of people ask this question actually, and I really love this question because there's no right or wrong way to write a song. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it starts with the idea and you put words to it. And sometimes it starts with a title. Sometimes it starts with a melody or just an emotion. That's where it usually starts for me, is the emotion. Especially with Let Go Letters. My previous album, Break Up Over Breakfast, it was very inspired by my journal and what I would just write about daily. But reading the Let Go Letters, I think about these people so often. It's like my Roman Empire, what everyone writes down. And so songs like, I don't know, Skinny or Self-Esteem for Sale, I'm thinking about the idea that everyone kind of wants to change themselves and just feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. And then those kind of stemmed from thinking about that a lot, not necessarily a specific letter. But some of the songs are about specific letters. Yeah.
So you write a lot about body image, eating disorders, or sexual trauma.
Yeah.
Do any of these come from your own stories, or?
Yeah, I think it's so hard to explain. It's so sad, but so uplifting in a way to read, especially with the sexual trauma. After I wrote my song Vanilla, it was crazy to see, I would say over 50% of the Let Go letters talk about that.
Really?
And I had no idea that that was so common. And I think it can be as little as, someone barely pushing your boundaries in a very, I guess, like innocent way. And it can go as far as like serious sexual assault. And I saw that a lot in the letters, and it's really, really hard to read that and talk about. And I mean, I feel like I've experienced that on some level of the scale myself. And so I wrote Grave on the album about that. And again, really, really hard subject to write about. It also feels, it's very fine china to talk about, because I don't want to trigger anybody and I don't want to unrightfully tell anyone's stories. But yeah, it's talked about a lot, and it's April right now, and it's Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, I feel like I've been seeing it everywhere a lot, and it's just so sad.
Yeah. It's one of those conversations, along with mental health and a lot of other topics that are being talked about more. Actually, someone who was here, I was interviewing yesterday, was talking about how she was opening up about stuff that happened to her. And I think it's so good. And as we share our stories and we give our fans or following the okay to talk about it, that then we heal each other.
Right.
And I think what you're doing with your fans are so vulnerable to you. I don't think
they are.
Anyone, like, how does that feel as a musician to have the responsibility of holding your fans' hands and helping and walking them through their trauma?
Right. I feel very grateful and blessed to be in the position that I am, but it's very heavy when I take it upon myself. But I do think music is so healing, and like you said, talking about things like that, so healing, and we heal each other. And just as much as I hold their hands, I guess they're holding mine as well.
Yeah.
And I just think that what I do as an artist, talking about things like that and creating music around it, it's not necessarily that everyone's vulnerable to me. When I gave people the opportunity to write it down in a letter, it's anonymous. They know obviously that I'm going to read it, but they talk about things that they've probably never said before in their lives. And
you're their confession.
Yes, it's a confession. And I guess it's, to me, the music that carries us all through, including me. And so I don't necessarily feel like I'm the one guiding them through it. I feel like it's the music that does that for us. And I feel like that's a blessing from God for me. And so, like I said, I'm very faith-based. So I feel like it just makes me very grateful to him for giving me that talent and the opportunity to spread that and like have this big healing moment with everybody. Yeah. So,
do you have siblings?
I do.
How many?
Yes, 3 siblings, older sister, younger brother, and a younger sister.
And what are your different personalities?
We're very different.
Yeah.
I'm the second child, so I'm the empath. I'm like the peacekeeper, I guess, the people pleaser. My older sister is very like by the book, rule follower, good grades, very like opinionated, I guess. She knows what she wants. She knows who she is. My younger brother is the sweetest boy I've ever met in my life. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, he's just so kind to people. And he's like very passionate about fishing and running, and he has his passions. And then my younger sister she packs a punch and she she's very opinionated, and she's quick to tell me if my outfit's ugly or if my songs, if she doesn't like that song or if she likes this song.
Ask, but thank you.
Yes, she's very quick to tell me that. And she also she's very clean. I'm very messy. But it's funny to see, like, especially the order of siblings, your personality and how that like affects how you are. Yeah. But I think it's such a blessing to be able to grow up with a lot of siblings. I really enjoy it. I'm close with them. So.
Yeah. So are you living your dream, or you're very young. Like,
yes,
do you even know, like, I feel at your age, I was in my lost moment coming out of my decade of darkness and growing up with a schizophrenic mother. And I just didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
Like, are you being so grounded? Like, do you feel like you're living your dream? What is your path? What is your future?
Right.
What are you manifesting?
Right. I do feel like I'm living my dream. Again, I'm so grateful to be given this opportunity to do what I love every day. But I do think the monster in the dream is social media. And I'm not trying to complain about my position, because I am literally living my dream, but it is like a beast you have to feed. And I know it looks like very fabulous being an artist and even an influencer. I'm sure you feel this way sometimes, but there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors, behind the highlight reels of your life that you're posting every day. And as easy as it was for me to get here compared to other people's stories, I've had a lot of hardships with, the instant fame and
Can we
stuff
talk
like
about that?
Because
even when I started my company, Tone It Up, I was like, overnight success. It was like, we've been doing this for years.
Right.
Years.
And I guess you could say I was putting in the work for years as well, singing in my room and journaling and writing songs in church and national anthems that were probably really bad. But I did write about this kind of on my album. I feel like I projected my feelings onto this song a lot, but there's a song called Self-Esteem for Sale. And it kind of touches on in the second verse for me what it's like in my position in this industry, and I'm sure you feel this way too. I hope this makes sense, but I sometimes feel like I'm like the product that I have to sell, right? And so sometimes I feel like I give up my self-esteem or my agency for people to like me or follow me or be interested in what I have to say, Like I kind of, I don't know, bow down to this like social media presence. And I think it's not just for influencers or artists or, business owners, but I think it's everyone. I think
like you're the asset that you're selling.
Yes. And like I said, it's very, very highlight reels. Yes. It's a hard thing, I think. And it's not a healthy dynamic to be in. So I have to like consciously think that my value comes from like my core values and like my family, who I am, like who God made me to be, rather than, I'm an artist and I write songs and this is my style and these are my outfits and this is the makeup that I use and stuff like that. I feel like the world gets very caught up in those types of things.
So where do you draw that line, that boundary of when you're working, when you're Avery sitting at home and just in sweats and nobody talk to me, nobody bother me? Do you have those boundaries?
I try really, really hard to have those boundaries, but it's really, really hard to, because in a sense, like I am my own boss and this is my business. So I feel like if I set my phone down and stop for a second, it's like I have this like guilt, like I'm not working hard enough. But in the past year, I've really tried to be like, I got 2 phones. one for the content.
I got 2 as well.
2 phones. But one's for like social media and content and to share my music and the things that I have to say. And the other one's just like family and friends, probably just texting and photos and stuff like that, so that I can put my work down for the day and be done. And it's so hard to like not check your social media, not even as an artist, but like as a person in today's society. Like it's so hard to just be like, okay, like I'm done for the day. It consumes me sometimes. So yeah, I guess the line is very, very blurry in that sense. But I try to draw it as clear as I can.
But you're in such a exciting time of your
Yes,
life too,
yes.
where I'd be like, okay, did my agent email me?
Right,
Was it-
yes,
oh,
yeah.
I just got an email. I'm at Stagecoach.
Yeah.
Like that's so
It
exciting.
is very exciting. And I find that when I have fun with sharing my journey, I like to think I experience life and document it, not experience life to document it.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's a
that's
very
good.
fine line. So when I'm doing things to document it and to share on social media, it feels very ungenuine.
Yeah.
And it actually genuinely does worse than when you're authentically living your life and being present and sharing that as well. I
Yeah.
guess, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense to me where you're not staging something
Yes,
to document
yes.
you're living your life and you want to share it
Yes.
to inspire other
Yes, which
people.
I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
Like that's a healthy dynamic that everyone can have with social media. Like I don't think it all needs to go away and we need to stop posting and I just think live your life and document it.
But
Treat it like a
live
blog, like a biography.
Live it first and then,
Yes, live
hey.
it first and then be like, this is really cool, this thing that I experienced. Rather than like, I have to go do that and buy those clothes and put that makeup on or go do this show so that my Instagram looks good,
Holla. Okay, so pandemic hits, viral. How, if life did change, friends and such, did any relationships and friendships change while you're rising to fame?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes. I had a really, really big life change, obviously with my career, but in my personal life as well. It changed a lot of things, and I think it really made my circle smaller and showed me who was, going to be there for me and support me in my life. But I think that's something that everyone goes through, especially when you leave and go to college or you start a new job or you move somewhere new. People trickle out of your life sometimes. And I can't remember who told me this, but I think about it often, is your life is like an elevator, like always going up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people get on a level and then they get off on the next.
And
Sometimes
that's
people
okay.
get on and they get off, and that's just,
Sometimes you kick them off.
yeah, sometimes you kick them off, which I've had
You're
to do
like,
a couple of
"Goodbye."
times. I'm like, you need to go. You're weighing this elevator down. But I'm blessed to have good people that have been with me through the whole thing, like my family and a few friends.
What are your daily practices to stay grounded and stay mentally well?
Right. I think being outside is so important.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I get so consumed in my life. I'm like, I seriously need to go outside and just put my face in the grass. Like
Yeah.
I need to eat some dirt, literally. But I think being outside for me is a big one. Being in the sun. I try and exercise as much as I can. It's hard on the
What do you-
road with the touring schedule.
Yeah. What do you do?
And
for-
sometimes I'm lazy.
Hey.
So, but
Oh,
I like to walk.
Yeah.
I love sports. So
Yeah.
any pickleball, volleyball, spike ball. And I love that interaction with other people. But I don't know, sometimes I go to the gym. I don't like going to the gym. I don't love lifting weights. I lie to myself and say I do so that I'll do it. But
What do you like for fitness?
I just tried, I got over my fear of Pilates this week.
Oh,
So I
Pilates
enjoy
girl
Pilates.
in the corner here.
Yes, it's fun. Yes, it was really hard. I was shaking in my boots, and I tried hot yoga this week as well.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, I think being spiritually grounded, for anyone, it can be like whatever like entity you believe in. But for me, it's God and like Jesus Christ. So, reading my scriptures daily is probably
That's your
number one for me.
meditation.
Yeah, my meditation, whatever your form of like grounding with like
Yeah.
the universe or God or whatever it is, that grounds me a lot. And just like daily prayer is big for me. Drinking water. Yeah.
It's literally one of the best things for your mental health is staying hydrated,
Yes.
getting out in nature,
I know,
everything
it's
that
so
you're
weird.
listing, and sleep.
Yeah,
And-
sleep. Oh my gosh. I wish I got better sleep. I need to like You have
Girl,
to
you
protect
need-
your sleep schedule. I'm really bad
That is my
at it.
number one goal for 2025 is protect my sleep, and I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But you're going on tour. How many cities?
So many. I don't even know. I like, people will ask me where I was last
No
week or
clue.
where I'm going next week. And I'm like, I have no idea.
Are you on a tour bus or do you fly?
No, I'm in a
Okay.
van. So
Oh, okay.
I'm like rolling up my sleeves and getting my elbows dirty.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So the van touring, I'm an up and coming artist. So
Yeah.
it's
So
not very
no
posh.
Prevost.
It's not posh
No
here.
Prevost yet.
Like it might look fabulous, but we've got a popped trailer tire and I'm like trying not to jackknife backing in and lots of
Okay.
stuff.
So you're handy.
yes, trying to be very handy.
Are you driving?
Yeah, I drive sometimes,
my
especially with the trailer. There's not a lot of people that know how to pull a trailer, which is
No.
I grew up with like horses and
Yeah.
dogs and we had chickens at one point, but rest in peace. I feel like I'm pretty handy with that stuff. But in the beginning of the road, I definitely had to like
I love that.
really get into it. But now I have thankfully like a bigger team, so I don't have to do as much. And they are like amazing and they like are so great and I love my band and it's fun.
So is the band in the van with you?
Yeah, so it's
Oh my
me,
gosh.
guitar player, drummer, front of house sound guy in
Yeah.
your mixes, merch girl, sometimes a cameraman. It's like a 12 passenger van, I think.
But does it have
Squish.
like a bed and
Nope.
a toilet?
Nope.
Nope.
I did, long story short, I did buy an RV to like try and tour in an RV. It was cool. I had like a bed and a
Yeah,
shower
I
and I was
love
like, this is going to be
RVs.
so cool. And it broke down the first week I had it. And
Oh,
then
no.
it was in the shop for like a year and then I had to sell it.
I'm RV life.
Yeah.
And
I am like in another life. I live in a van and I'm a straight up hippie and I just travel the world and
How do
don't
you-
talk to anybody.
this might be a weird question, but yeah, don't talk to me.
Yeah. Yes.
But if you travel with that many people in a 12 passenger van and like bathroom stops. So my husband and I have done like, we renovated a 2002 Winnebago.
Yes,
We've
yeah.
had a 45-foot tour bus. We've had all sorts of
Yeah.
things, but there was one brown van that we had and it didn't have a toilet. And when we travel across the country
Yeah.
and like, I always have to go to the bathroom.
Me
So
too.
there's a thing. It's like a little toilet seat that
Yeah.
has kitty litter. I'm just saying.
Good
That's
to
my
know.
advice. No, literally.
I don't know if I could
In front.
with the guys.
No,
I don't know if I could do
driving.
that.
I'm like, excuse
Well, for guys,
me,
it's
like-
so easy. Like, and I've got tiny tanks, so I have to pee
Me too.
all the time.
Girl,
But,
get that kitty litter.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do that.
Just put like a little
I'm a
like
shy.
curtain.
I have a shy bladder.
You're just like,
Like if people can hear me, I'm like, wait. Plug your ears.
you'll get used to
Yeah,
it.
but that's so funny.
All right. So any non-negotiable pre-performance rituals?
Yes. This doesn't always happen, but I have to have at least like 2 hours before the show to get ready.
You gotta get
'Cause
out
I
of
like
here.
to take my time. I like to take
No, I
my
like
time.
that.
Listening to music before the show is big for me. I do a honey shot
What's that?
before my shows. I just like
Oh.
pour honey in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
Lots of people do
Well,
like
that's good for your throat.
shots, but I do honey shots.
Well, that's good for your throat.
It is good for
Yeah.
your throat. A little warm up. I don't always do that, but I should. Sometimes I have like a ginger shot mixed with Fresca.
Okay.
I just like I like to sip on like a little something.
All right.
Oh, and we pray
Of course.
before the show, every
Right.
show. So
Yeah. I love
sometimes we're like on stage and my guitar player's in the talk back like, Lord, thank you, amen. And that's it.
That's
Yeah.
all we have time for.
Yeah, that's all we have time for. But yeah.
So Stagecoach, I want to go back to that because that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Because I know now I'm like, I'll be in Palm Springs during that time and we are considering going and camping out there.
Yeah.
How did it feel when you got asked to play at Stagecoach?
The first time I got asked.
Oh, this is not the first
This
time.
is the second time.
Oh,
the first
sorry.
time I
She's
got
like,
asked.
I've been at the Grand Ole Opry
No,
like
you're
10
good.
times.
You're good. The first time I got asked, it was really exciting because I'm from Arizona. I heard about Stagecoach all growing up and
Yeah.
I never really went to shows though. So it was really cool. And to know I was kind of close to home and like people that I grew up with were going, it was really cool. And I gave like a little piano recital on a big stage for people that were really far away in the middle of the day. But it was really cool to like establish, I guess, myself at Stagecoach. Being asked back having a band now, with a lot of music out, I'm stoked.
Right, because the
I'm
first time it was
stoked.
just you acoustic.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was
so
like,
cool.
please enjoy my piano recital from 50 feet away.
What is your favorite song to perform?
Oh, that's such a good question. My favorite song to perform, I guess one of my favorite songs to perform in the past year has been Vanilla.
Yeah.
It just like, it's a really special moment in the show that everyone just connects, especially the girls. Feels like very emotional for everybody and for me. And it's cool to see something that I was so scared to release and talk about be embraced and like very heavily related to and like heal so many things in me and other people. So it's definitely.
And then you've said that Grave is a connection to
Yes,
Vanilla.
yes, it
so
is,
what is
for
that
sure.
connection?
So when I wrote Vanilla, I was obviously had experienced it on some level already in my own life. But I was thinking about my little sister. Oh my gosh, am I gonna get emotional?
Yeah,
I was thinking about my little sister and how if she ever was put in that situation on a date and if she was pushed a little too far, I wanted her to feel like she could say no and not feel like, I guess, pressured and so I wrote that song kind of in my mind as advice to her. And like I said, so many people embraced it, especially at the shows. And then after getting the letters and hearing about people's stories, and a lot of them talk about Vanilla and what their stories with Vanilla are, but a lot of them are just as simple as like, this was his name, he's done this to me for years and I've never talked about it. Or my father's been doing this to me, I've never told any of my family, or stuff like that. It's just so much pain. And the thing with that subject is it's not talked about enough. And I don't think a lot of people feel like they can talk about it because it's a shameful experience. And so it's kind of like your own little secret. And I don't know, I think it just rots inside of a person. And to see so many people try and gut that out of them with the letters. Like I said, Vanilla was really hard to release for me personally, but Grave is a whole nother level of touching on that subject. But as hard as it is to read and hear about and talk about, watching people decide, I'm gonna let this go, I'm gonna talk about this, like it's been rotting inside me and it's time to let it go, or it's time to deal with it and heal from it, was very empowering for me to see. And it's very empowering for them. And so Grave is basically saying like, I don't know how to talk about this, but I'm not going to take it to my grave. Like I know I need to and I'm going to. And I'm not going to be scared about what people are going to say about me or, you know, what the person that did this to me might say or do or think. And I'm just going to like let it go. And so Grave's a good one. I hope it heals.
Yeah. What would you say is the most emotionally, like what song you had to put so much emotion into to finalize and write and record?
Right. So that's a really good question. I love that question. All of them are very, very emotionally cathartic for me.
Yeah.
And cutting the record was hard to not just like, because I have to, especially when I'm singing, I have to feel it.
Yeah.
To get a good take of my vocal. Like I have to like be present in those emotions. It was really hard not to break down and cry for Grave, for Depression. Danny Don't. There's a song I wrote called Butterfly Project that I wrote by myself. This one got me in the studio because it's a little bit more positive than the other ones. But I don't think I've actually ever told anybody much about this song because I just wrote it by myself on my piano back home. But there was a letter, it was a single letter, and it was talking about self-harm. And it's something that I was aware of it at a young age, especially in high school, watching like others that I know go through that, it was a very hard thing. And I remember in high school, I learned about this thing called the Butterfly Project. And the idea of it is if you have a problem with self-harm, you draw a butterfly on yourself and it's supposed to represent someone that you love. And so when you harm yourself, the butterfly dies and you have to start over. And it's kind of showing that like when you hurt, the people that you love hurt too. And I think that goes for like negative self-talk and, putting yourself down. It's also bringing down the other people around you that love you. Like sometimes I think about when I talk poorly about my body or like who I am or like I'm so dumb and all these things. I feel like that's so hard for like a parent to hear. That's so hard for a sister to hear. And especially for me being spiritual, I know I bring this up a lot, but that's so hard for like our Heavenly Father to hear. Because, that's like the generations of, DNA and
Generational
personality
trauma,
and spiritual gifts and all these things. So Butterfly Project is very emotional, but positive. And that one I felt like was one of the most emotional to record.
Yeah.
Like sad and happy tears, I guess, with that one.
Yeah. I love a good sad and happy tear.
So there's a long spiel. Hopefully that made sense.
So do you co-write? So there's 14 new songs on your album, right? Is that right?
I think, wait, hold on. I think so.
That's a yes from the corner.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
It's 14, yes.
So did you co-write most of them or yeah?
Yeah, I am on every song on the album.
Yeah.
It was very, I guess, selective with the co-writing with this album because it was such a personal relationship with the letters with me and the fans that it felt weird, like kind of sharing that with other people because I didn't feel like my information to share.
Yeah.
So, but there are 3 guys that I wrote my first record with that I write with all the time. They're like my brothers to me. Yeah. David Fanning, my manager, producer, and he writes with me. He's jack of all trades. Ben Williams and Andy Sheridan. We sat down, talked about the letters, talked about what I wanted to say. We wrote Grave, Self-Esteem for Sale, Cheerios, probably some more. And then there are a lot of solo writes on the album for me, like Danny Don't and Butterfly Project and My Mother Lies. But yeah, I was very selective. But the co-writers that are on it are amazing and they get it and they get, what needed to be done. So
what inspired My Mother Lies?
My Mother Lies is, I wrote this, it's like half of a song and I wrote it in literally 10 minutes. I was like thinking about, again, all the negative self-talk and so many letters were so cute. It's like, I'm going to let go of like my self-hate and be more confident and just things that everyone wants to just let go and things that everyone struggles with, especially girls. So many girls wrote about that. And kind of like what I just said with, it's a sad thing for you to hate on yourself when, you're your mother's daughter and your father's daughter and all this generational genes that you're hating on when you talk negatively towards yourself. And so My Mother Lies is kind of, I think that the first time a girl feels insecure about themselves, for me, I've noticed at a young age when you see your mom talk poorly about herself. Mm-hmm. And that's so sad to me to like, for my mom to be changing her outfit 5 times because she doesn't feel pretty or like fixing her hair. And I mean, obviously that's a normal thing. Yeah. Such a normal thing. But when you watch your mom go through that, it's kind of the reverse of what I was just talking about. It makes you feel like, oh, well, if my mom's insecure about, her stomach and she's always wants to suck in for pictures, like I have my mom's stomach. Yeah. And so at a young age as a little girl, you're kind of like passively, that's like being passed on in your head. And so I don't know. And I see that in everyone's lives. That is like such a common thing to go through, but it's kind of just talking about it. Yeah. So the lyrics are like, when my mother tells me I'm a pretty girl, I'm thinking to myself, my mother lies. Because if she don't think she's pretty, how can I? So it's a short song. And my mom, when she heard it, she was like, I was like, it's not obviously like you and I can relate to this, but it's not just about us. It's like about all the mothers and daughters out there that feel this way. And obviously like me and her know so many people that are in the same situation, obviously. And she's like, well, I know it's not about me because I have great thighs. She like made a joke. It's really funny. But it's just like a short voice memo.
Yeah.
It's the audio from the video I posted of it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. At such a young age, you are a role model.
Thanks.
I would say for teenagers, for me, for many generations, to be so wise and to open up these conversations and such depth and bringing awareness to everything that everyone needs to talk about and not be afraid to talk about. And I've always loved music.
Yeah.
My dad's a therapist and then singer-songwriter at night when he gets home from
that's awesome.
work and private practice, you know. And music is so healing. And I can't wait to see you just continue to do the good work and continue to have the let go letters.
Yeah.
Will you continue that as
I will. It'll be a forever thing. If any of you ever come to the show, if you come to the show,
yeah,
there's a mailbox and you can write down anything you want. Also, I told the fans too, like, if you don't want me to read it, if you just want to write it down, like, I don't have to open it. So it's a thing. It'll be a thing for forever.
You're
but
a
thank you so much
in your own right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But,
and I know you, because your pre-show practice, you need to get to the grand old Opry.
I gotta get there. But I look up to you so much, and I appreciate you having me and talking to me. So
thank you for coming. Thank you for coming on The Big Silence, and I can't wait to follow you and your career and the beautiful work that you put out there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
The Big Silence. It's time to sing.